Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I too would like to echo the words of colleagues across the House in offering our best wishes on behalf of the SDLP to Deborah Erskine and her husband on what I hope to be a very positive news story in a few days or weeks' time, and I wish her well in that journey. I also want to welcome our friends from Fermanagh and Tyrone. You're very welcome to be in this assembly. Remember, this is your assembly, and you have helped bring about this important discussion today. I am also grateful for the opportunity to speak in this particular debate and on the future of this important hospital. And just to be clear, Mr Deputy Speaker, the SWA is not just another hospital, it is a lifeline for rural communities across my constituency of West Tyrone and Fermanagh, and of course the rest of Tyrone. And indeed it also is a lifeline for parts of Donegal, Cavan and Monaghan. Many people receive important treatment in this vital facility. But at a cost of £276 million when it was first built in 2012, with single ensuite rooms for every patient, it is a state-of-the-art facility opened barely a decade ago. It is quite shocking that we're discussing its future when it is so young in terms of its build. To allow it to be hollowed out, downgraded, or
agree with me, and I wonder why a member for South Antrim is here today. The reason I'm here, actually, it doesn't only have an impact on the west of the province, it's got an impact on all of the province. So I'm sure the member will join with me in agreeing about the impact, because if they're not in the SWA, they're coming to the east of the province or they're going north in the province. So it has implications right across for the delivery of healthcare, and I'm sure the member would agree with that.
Absolutely.
And Dan, you'll have an extra minute.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I appreciate the intervention by Mr Clark, and he is right. Whatever action is taken in relation to the SWA will have a consequence on other health facilities throughout Northern Ireland, and we're already seeing that play out, particularly in Altnagalvin, and I use that as a reference because that's my closest hospital, and I've seen the huge crisis that it faces in terms of dealing with the demand on its services. In December 2022, the Western Trust suspended emergency general surgery at SWA. We were told that it was a temporary move, which has now unfortunately dragged on for almost 3 years. And we're now told it will become permanent, which has come as great disappointment to so many people. Patients in urgent need of surgery must travel 2.5 hours to Altnagalvin, or indeed, as Mr Clark has referenced, other medical facilities. This is not just inconvenient, it's unsafe, and it defies NICE guidance, which requires a 45-minute response to major trauma. And also, for those travelling to Altnagalvin, they have to, if they were leaving from Balleek today, or any part of Fermanagh for that matter, they'd have to travel down that treacherous A5, already quite stressed. Maybe they couldn't get access to an ambulance because of the demand on that particular service, and are having to navigate very difficult road conditions. When you put the full picture together, it's quite complex and actually extremely frustrating and worrying for those who are worried about their loved ones in that particular emergency situation. So just to be clear, the human cost is absolutely real, and the removal of services from rural communities is being felt acutely in places like Fermanagh and Tyrone. There's a number of examples that I could use. There's a gentleman that has spent 6 months in hospital after being shuttled between these two hospitals. A young mother traumatised after being forced to leave a newborn baby to travel to Altnagalvin Hospital from Fermanagh on a number of occasions. Another gentleman in his 50s, wrongly treated, and unfortunately during the transfer his health and life situation was endangered. These are not just statistics, they're actually real-life examples of the real-life effects of what is happening. And these are families whose lives will never be the same. The Trust claims patients can be safely transferred, yet even the RQIA has criticised the so-called double ED process, where Fermanagh patients present at SWA only to be sent on to other hospitals such as Altnagalvin. And Altnagalvin, just to be clear, Mr Deputy Speaker, is an absolute crisis zone at the best of times. There's no quiet moments anymore. There's no winter pressures. There's all year, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week pressures in our emergency departments. And it is inhumane that we are asking our healthcare staff to work in such a crisis-filled area where they're supposed to be treating patients with dignity. I can safely say from what I've witnessed in the emergency departments, there's very little dignity, unfortunately, there at present. And it is clear that the emergency department in Galvin is in crisis. I know the Minister recognises that there is an issue there, and he has committed to looking at it in various pieces of correspondence with me and other MLAs, but it is unacceptable and needs to be dealt with. Patients are waiting for days. We used to say hours and find that that was unacceptable, but patients now are waiting for days on hard seats, sometimes days waiting for a bed. Families are left in limbo. Staff, as I've said, are stretched to breaking point. And it is not a safe alternative for SWA patients, and certainly not for those in trauma situations where minutes literally matter. Ambulance cover is stretched, with Category 2 response times averaging 68 minutes against a 15-minute target, and geography makes the risk even greater. From Newton Butler to Galvin is 2.5 hours. The difference between life and death, quite literally. That is why SWA must be treated as a rural hospital with a trauma lens applied. But this debate is not just about emergency surgery, it's about the future of SWA in itself. And this hospital has 2 operating theatres, as colleagues have pointed out, with 92 ensuite rooms that have never been properly and fully commissioned. With investment and a clear plan, SWA could be a hub for elective surgery, cutting the longest waiting list in the UK in Northern Ireland, while still retaining emergency surgical capacity for its rural population. I welcome the Minister's recent intervention, and I do appreciate it very much. The Minister always speaks his mind, and that is what I respect about Minister Nesbitt in the role that he has, and it is a difficult job. But we can't allow the future of SWA to drift. The Minister needs to intervene now where trusts are failing. Thousands of people have marched, attended meetings, cross-community support has been secured, and the message from Fermanagh and Tyrone is clear: save this service now. And let's be clear, the Western Trust does not start and stop in Derry. It's a huge rural catchment that is under immense pressure. We need to do more to ensure that our rural communities have access to these vital services. I want to say, Mr Deputy Speaker, that those people in this gallery are the reason we're here today. If SWA is saved, and I hope it is, Minister, it's down to the work of those people who have worked tirelessly for the last number of years to raise the